Hello, welcome to the Self Learning Podcast by Dr. Shishma Singh. Let us start discussion on Chapter 4 Culture and Socialization. And our topic is peer groups. Another socializing agency is the peer group. Peer groups are friendship groups of children of a similar age. In some cultures, particularly small traditional societies, peer groups are formalized as age grades. Even without formal age grades, children over 4 or 5 usually spend a great deal of time in the company of friends of the same age. The word peer means equal, and friendly relations established between young children do tend to be reasonably egalitarian. A forceful or physically strong child may be to some extent try to dominate others, yet there is a greater amount of give and take compared to the dependence inherent in the family situation. Because of their power, parents are able in varying degrees to enforce codes of conduct upon their children. In peer groups, by contrast, a child discovers a different kind of interaction within which rules of behavior can be tested out and explored. Peer relationships often remain important throughout a person's life. Informal group of people of similar ages at work and in other contexts are usually of enduring importance in shaping individuals' attitudes and behavior. Now, let us move to the next point, schools. Schooling is a formal organization. There is a definite curriculum of subjects studied. Yet, schools are agencies of socialization in more subtle respects too. Alongside the formal curriculum, there is what some sociologists have called a hidden curriculum, conditioning children's learning. There are schools in both India and South Africa where girls, but rarely boys, are expected to sweep their classroom. In some schools, efforts are made to counter this by making boys and girls do those tasks that are normally not expected of them. Can you think of examples of that reflection both trends? Now, the next point is mass media. Mass media has increasingly become an essential part of our everyday life. While today the electronic media like the television is expanding, the print media continues to be of great importance. Even in the early print media in 19th century India, conduct books instructing women on how to be better housekeepers and more attentive wives were popular in many languages. The media can make the access to information more democratic. Electronic communication is something that can reach a village not connected by road and where no literacy centers have been set up. There has been much research on the influence of television upon children and adults. A study in Britain showed that the time spent by children watching television is the equivalent of almost 100 school days a year, and that adults are not far behind them. Apart from such quantitative aspects, what emerges from such research is not always conclusive in its implications. The link between on screen violence and aggressive behavior among the children is still debated. If one cannot predict how media influences people, what is certain is the extent of the influence in terms of both information and exposure to areas of experience distant from one's own. There is a sizable audience for Indian television serials and films in countries like Nigeria, Afghanistan, and among immigrants from Tibet. The televised Mahabharata was aired after dubbing in Tashkent, but even without dubbing was watched in London by children who spoke only English. Now the next point is other socializing agencies. Besides the socializing agencies mentioned, there are other groups or social contexts in which individuals spend large parts of their lives. Work is in all cultures an important setting within which socialization processes operate, although it is only in industrial societies that large number of people go out to work, that is, go each day to places of work quite separate from their home. In traditional communities, many people titled the land close to where they lived or had workshop in their dwelling. Now the next point is socialization and individual freedom. It is perhaps evident that socialization in normal circumstances can never completely reduce people to conformity. Many factors encourage conflict. There may be conflicts between socializing agencies, between school and home, between home and peer groups. However, since the cultural settings in which we are born and come to maturity so influence our behavior, it might appear that we are robbed of any individuality or free will. Such a view is fundamentally mistaken. The fact that from birth to death we are involved in interaction with others certainly conditions our personalities, the values we hold, and the behavior in which we engage. Yet, socialization is also at the origin of our very individuality and freedom. In the course of socialization, each of us develops a sense of self dignity and the capacity for independent thought and action. Now, let us wind up the session, and we have come to the end of the chapter 4, Culture and Socialization. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with the Self Learning Podcast.